wild card because they desperately need it.
All right, well, here we go. Everybody is set. Everything is getting ready. We're making our way over towards Miramar. A little bit of a change-up, starting off in the desert, but we've got match number 1 up and in the air. Everybody's already starting to make their drops.
In all honesty, I think starting on Miramar is going to be very beneficial for a lot of these teams because Miramar, especially if you have a first circle that's, you know, more centralized, it allows you to kind of play a little bit more slow. Kind of, it allows you to kind of calm those nerves that you might get right at the beginning.
It can be forgiving sometimes, but can also be extremely cruel depending on circles. And we have seen in the NPL cruel circle after cruel circle. Now, how are we going to see this in the relegation matches? Are we going to see an easier path? Or are we just going to see full-on circle craziness? Because, I don't know, I used to be the kind of agent of chaos, but sometimes I wanted a little bit calm.
Well, we got about 10 seconds before we find out where this circle's going to go right now, although wild card, accelerate, and it looks like who's our green team? Vicious.
Yeah.
Kind of all up there on the north side vying for vehicles, and there's your circle. It's going to go hard to the northeast. We're getting an interesting one early. Blue Martini, you can hear the fans cheering in the background. They're feeling pretty good about things.
So we also have Sonics in a pretty decent position. A lot of gatekeeping potential could happen given how the circles moved. You can see all the teams back down towards the south and towards the west. They're going to have a very interesting choice on how they make their way into this next circle. Meanwhile, Basher in his position does have a nice little rotation that he can make a shift over to for Blue Martini Gaming and really catch a lot of people in rotation if he chooses to play there.
Yeah, we've seen it play out before where Basher, that spot exactly where Basher is one that's actually preferred by Pecadores and by Smurf in particular. So Basher's going to have to be on top of his game here. Needs to make sure he's listening out just in case the Pecadores come rolling up on top of him anytime here soon.
Now, Blue Martini Gaming has had these different moments where they're being a little bit calm during the early game. And we've talked about it a lot. Whenever you have the circle drop on you and you're one of the more, I would say, casual early game teams, that means the fact that you have to regroup very quickly and very efficiently to expect the onslaught of teams trying to come and claim your territory.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's kind of what goes part and parcel with being a team that gets the circle fall on top of you, right? You know, the general consensus or the general line of thought is that, okay, well, we're in circle. We have time to take a little bit longer, maybe make sure that we get all the scopes that we want, get all the throwables that we may want to get. But in actuality, you really need to kind of be on top of your game and get kind of pick your spot a little bit sooner because, as you said, all these teams are going to be coming down on top of you really, really shortly.
Well, Accelerate doesn't have too far to go either. And Cloudtail, the rest of the boys, we've seen them have some absolutely cool plays come out, but just not consistent plays.
Yeah, Cloudtail and Disciple have really, really been picking things up. Cloudtail, you know, being one of the top bolters here in the NPL, just not, you know, we haven't really been seeing a lot coming out of Accelerate until these closing few weeks with the addition of Carbon or having Carbon's voice back in there. Really, I mean, you know, we talk about the difference that a player makes and the importance of stats and yada, yada, yada. Carbon does not bring a lot statistically. He doesn't bring a lot of damage. He doesn't bring a lot of kills. But whatever it is that he does bring, whatever intangible that it is that he brings, clearly is what Accelerate needs to be successful.
Well, he does bring his own form of energy. Let's be honest. Carbon is probably one of the most excited players that we have inside the NPL. So sometimes just having that extra little bit of juice inside the squad to keep everybody motivated could be a very telling factor for a team.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anything. But right now, all I know is that Disciple and Cloudtail are playing very, very good PUBG. Hopefully they can kind of carry it through here through the rest of this relegations period and find themselves back in NPL for Phase 3.
You can see that as the truck crests the top of that hill, that's kind of the trepidation that we're seeing move through this first round. Nobody has died as of yet. Again, that's not too surprising, given the fact that we've got a little bit of an awkward circle that we have going on. A little bit of violence now coming to play as Basher's getting spotted out as he's taking a couple of pot shots, but Smoke and Ace is not off to a good start as they run over one of their own players.
Well, this is what we're talking about, right? With BMG, they had the circle, but you need to get together really quickly here because right now Sonic's right on top of them, and that is a spooky team, especially if you've been watching the contenders.
I mean, Sonics, they're coming in with some fire in this already.
Oh, absolutely.
Early rotations coming into play, no fear. As far as teams go that might be playing a little bit more in casual, safe, these guys are going to come in. I feel like they want to make a statement. This is a very aggressive team, and they are not going to relent. Look, already moving into high ground positions, trying to take shots at people as they rotate. I love this.
No, absolutely. You know, we talk about the importance of confidence on these players and for these teams. Right now, NPL teams that are playing right here, the bottom 6 not coming in with a lot of confidence. They came into the bottom 6 of their respective league, obviously. Meanwhile, Sonics is coming in on an absolute high. They dominated in contenders, and they are feeling really, really good about things right now.
A little bit of a skirmish coming out right now. As you can see, Comets taking a couple of shots, team rotating away from them. But these are these small little traps that could come up to be influencers. As you can see, low-key Pax and a little bit of trouble trying to make it down that hillside. But I don't think he's going to get taken down, but is going to slow him down, and that's some damage that's going to make his life a little bit more difficult as he continues his rotation.
Yeah, this is also very, very far away from the circle right here. But you got to appreciate Comets taking the initiative here to stop and see if maybe they can pick up a down or maybe even a kill here before heading on into the circle, making that long rotation.
A lot of odd little skirmishes. You can see Wildcard nowhere near, well, I'd say probably about a kilometer away from the circle, trying to set up and maybe catch a couple of the trifecta guys.
Yeah, this is Sharpshot by himself.
I don't think Sharpshot's going to have an angle on this. He's on the other side of the rocks, so he already saw the trifecta guys making their way through, but we have a lot of teams that are already starting to kind of regroup around that same location.
Yeah, the rest of Wildcard is already making their way in to the circle on the northwestern side, but Sharpshot got left behind here. It looks like I don't see him having any vehicles here, rather. He did manage to evade trifecta for the time being, and that is good news for Wildcard, as they cannot stand to have somebody go down early.
Actually have one of the members from trifecta still back behind as well, and that's going to be Little Prodigy, who is known for being quite vocal.
That's one word for it.
Yeah,
Definitely.
So we'll have to keep an eye on him, seeing how that goes through. But a lot of, I guess, migrations coming into play. A lot of teams kind of opting way back down towards the south, or just a direct push over towards the west, which is kind of what we're looking at now.
Yeah, this is a nice little stop from Accelerate. I feel like they were making their way into circle. They heard engines going on around them. They tried to stop in a position to see if maybe they could take a few passing shots at a few vehicles. Did not see anything there. Oh no, Fignaldo. Oh, it's going to run. It's running away. It's running away. Right. Can you catch it? Can we catch it?
You got it.
We're there.
I was waiting for it to like run over his feet.
Yeah, no, that definitely never happens.
All right, so we got Fig that's making a push back over here. You can see out inside the blue right now, a couple of low-key members around him as well. So we have Loki and Comets that both kind of stalled each other out. And that could force all of them to kind of play along the edge, given how the circle plays out. And with a very northern circle, going to make for a long rotation, to say the least.
Yeah, Comets feels like they're in a little bit better position here. They're split up here, but you can see low-key is just all over the place. They got completely discombobulated by Comet's little push here. As we check in, God Squad right on top of Zenith, so you knew that this eastern road was going to be dangerous. Let's see if anything pops off here. Walt Jr.'s in a spot.
Taking the shots off to the side of it, trying to get the spray back over towards Triggs. Triggs is going to be able to use the hillside to get a little bit more cover and separation, but his teammates are going to be under fire, and now looks like a lot of the guys from God Squad are going to be able to get away from this, so the trap coming out from Zenith not going to pay off.
It was a nice idea there by Zenith. They sprung the trap, but unfortunately for them, God Squad able to avoid the shots, able to break line of sight long enough, and unfortunately, the bullets from the first fight not landing as they might wanted them to.
So now the prey can potentially become the hunters, as God Squad has gotten into a position that looks like Zenith might want to rotate next to.
Yeah.
But I think that Zenith is aware, they can see the vehicles, so now they're going to push a little bit further back over towards the east, which should make for a little bit safer of a rotation. But you can see a lot of these teams already in different positions. Two teams, Comets, low-key, again, due to that early skirmish, still have yet to make it a new safe zone. And we continue pushing up towards the north, and good lord, we've got Terra Branca as a center point.
All right,
when was the last time you saw that?
This is a fun circle. I really like this circle. The eastern side of this, basically 20% of the east to southeastern side of this is pretty much unplayable cliff side here. So you're going to see a lot of teams organized around Tierra Branca, but there's a lot of hills to work around there as well.
Look at the amount of cars. Everybody is already rotating. Nobody is in a position that they feel comfortable with. I don't think that there's a single team that is not on the move right now. So whoever can get to that prime position first could be in a great spot to maybe catch a couple of these guys as they're still trying to find their own home.
Keep your eyes on the north right now. Wildcard is about the only team up there so far. They're being followed closely by Simplicity and Trifecta, but that is, I mean, you can see the north is completely clear, obviously, because of how the circle's played out. Whoever comes out on top of that, if they can remain 4 strong, they're going to be in a good position of strength going forward.
And there's so many little tricksy spots you can get. Looks like Accelerate looking back down towards Comets. Comets just cannot find a place to stop. They have been on the run for so long. See Sub-Zero taking a little bit of damage at range, and it's going to be Accelerate, actually moving into an aggressive position.
Yeah, this is what we like about new Accelerate. Once they picked up Carbon, they've been feeling a lot more confident. They've been taking better shots. Cloudtail, Disciple, Tetra, all getting in here and getting involved. The grenades are coming out, not finding anything just yet, though.
Gonna force them out and away from their vehicles. Is Disciple gonna spot this out? No, he's gonna continue down the grenade range. But there it goes. Shots from a teammate off to the side of it. Sub-Zero is actually gonna get the shots back over towards Cloudtail. Disciple's taking a lot of damage as well. So Accelerate, they were the aggressors in this, but Comet's showing up with great defense.
Yeah, this is the flanker position from Accelerate that has gone down. So that's a position that's not going to be getting rezzed here. So for all intents and purposes right now, this is a 4v3 for Comets.
So Disciple, kind of that point man off to one side. Looks like they're trying to go for the res. Tetra's going to be in a very difficult spot. He's just out in the open as Sub-Zero's just trying to take the shots towards him. Somehow he is managing to juke all of them and does manage to make it to a touch of cover. Disciple throws out another grenade, but I don't think it's going to connect with Woe. So now it's a little bit of a standoff. Everybody from Accelerate wants to get up towards Cloudtail as he's bleeding out, but they just cannot find the angles. Tetra's got to drop down a little bit more smoke. You can see the Molotovs even coming out, trying to buy a little bit more space.
If you're Comets, you have to hit those shots on Tetra. You cannot allow him to cross that street, and he's going to get the down onto Sub-Zero now, so we're to a true 3v3.
But we have Snowbird for Comets that came in late, right on the other side of this in a great flank position. Carbon on the outside of this as well. So it's kind of a flank into a flank, but Carbon seems to be at least aware of where Matthew's at. So slowly creeping around, sees the head, waiting to take the shots, goes for the spray, gets the down onto one of them. Anybody gonna make it back over? And no, that's gonna be a return shot coming out from Snowbird. So now Comet's gonna make their way off to the side of this as now Accelerate down to 2.
Isn't able to get the flush either, so now Disciple and Tetra basically have to try to work around here. Comets still have 2 down. Whoa, just trying to make sure that they don't get pushed here, but he is very, very low.
And they are still out and in the blue, so it's tick damage that's just accumulating this whole time. Woe's trying to go for a little bit of a flank around the other side of this, but Tetra is just holding down that high ground position. He is unrelenting in the spot. You can see Disciple right up next to Woe. Woe's trying to figure out what he's going to do. He has just so many problems that are coming his way right now. Disciple's playing a little bit more aggressive, decides away from it as bullets whiz right next to his head, buying him a little bit more space. So Disciple almost overextended, but you can hear Woe hears every single footstep right now and is counter moving around where Disciple is at. Snowbird still providing some cover. This is a push back and forth as now finally they both see each other. Disciple taking a lot of damage. And again, in the blue, that's going to be a lot of tick damage stacking up, so he has to retreat away from this.
Is he going to be able to get the heal off in time? It's going to be close. I think he just managed to get it off. Yes, he did. And he's going to be able to get that heal off the med kit even to bring him up to full health. So now it's just Snowbird from range. And it looks like Woe is just calling him off, telling him to try to make his way into this next circle.
They cannot sit here. They cannot go out in 16th place. Snowbird knows this, so he has to get out of this position. But let's be real. He's about a kilometer away from the safe zone right now, and these guys have been skirmishing for so long, everybody has taken over all the good territory spots inside the new circle.
And you can tell that circle is chunking right now. Snowbird is in some big danger here. It looks like he's going to stop and try to get a heal off. We check the map here. You can see how far outside of the new circle they are in, and they have to make their way past Lego Your Ego.
Nice grenade coming out from Danny G. Gonna land right on top of BZ, but a little bit of shots coming out from back behind him. Gonna force him to retreat away from this. Guys from God Squad trying to get an angle, but Shook still holding out. Protege is just on a nice angle. That grenade could connect depending on how it rolls back down that hillside and could be huge for them, giving them a little bit more space. And there we go, Protege.
God Squad, you gotta know not to get that close to each other. The grenades are such a big part of that meta, and Protege playing it big time right there, managing to get 2. And I think he got the flush there as Nitrogen is now turning his attention to Smoking Aces.
So we got God Squad fighting on multiple fronts right now. One member down, bleeding out, about to go out. Does manage to actually, he bleeds out right there. So now it's just gonna be Mortify and Nitrogen fighting 2 different squads right now, aware of the fact that this could be a problem for him, but Define Legit, he's just managed to find himself a little dip to play in, and Blue Martini Gaming is just raining bullets on top of him.
Yeah, this is kind of classic Define Legit, serving that scout role for his team, managing to find a little tiny crook to hang out in, a little hangout spot, and he stays alive for now, but I don't know how the rest of his team is going to join him there. That is a very small spot.
Doesn't even have wheels on the vehicle, just trying to cut through the bullets and find somewhere safe. But Blue Martini Gaming, this was kind of their home circle, so they're just raining death, forcing rotations all around them. But Zenith now forced to fight up right next to Smoke and Ace's. Shu is trying to go for the angle,
good
and that's
peek.
going to be a nice defense coming out from Keenan.
Actually, Keenan getting the down there on Sharu as he was trying to get the peak there. So I think Define Legit now the last remaining player up for Smoke and Aces. He tried to find a spot for his team. It wasn't big enough for all four, so they had to find somewhere else to go, and they end up getting wiped.
Define Legit is laying down in the shade of bullets coming out from Shook. It's going to be Sonics, Zenith, and BMG. New
Ooh.
circle pops, so Define Legit not going to have to move too much. A lot of these teams right in pretty good spots, I would say, especially the teams just down to the south of Terrabronca.
Yeah, so many teams happy with that hardship to the south here. As we see Trifecta still up towards the north side. Wildcard and Low Key also making their way from the northern edge here. They're a little bit farther out of circle. We might see a fight break off there. Meanwhile, we just see shots getting traded back and forth. BMG, though, for as many shots as they're taking, no kills just yet, but they're still in a great position.
Well, we see this happen a lot. If you're the team that's already got position,
Yeah.
you take those shots, you scare everybody away from you, so you don't necessarily get the kills off of it, but you force
Oh, there we
rotations
go.
around everywhere. Low-key in a lot of trouble. Pax realizing he has to just abandon the vehicle as it explodes right in front of him, just trying to make his way behind a tree to get a little bit more cover, and he's just left to his own devices. His wildcard is just beaten in at the members from Low-key Gaming.
Pax getting unfortunate, yet kind of fortunate. That truck blew up and flew away from him rather than staying right where it exploded to give him some cover. So fortunately, he does have a tree to hide behind. But yeah, as you said, he's kind of dead to rights here, 2 wildcard. But they have to worry about getting inside the circle now.
I was just about to say the same thing. Wildcard, Low-key, neither one inside the safe zone right now. So Low-key's just going to try to get a little bit more space. Wildcard's going to take a couple of pot shots, but has to realize we cannot stay committed to this fight right now. We're going to have to move at some stage. And one of their members, Tamai, already trying to cut a little bit of a path. There we go. Everybody jumping inside of vehicles. It's not worth the couple of points. And oh, Brad, you can't quite squeeze through that.
And it looks like Pax is going to survive for a little bit longer. Meanwhile, our solo player from Comet, Snowbird, has managed to make his way into circle. So he is managing to stay alive for right now. We have lost one team. I believe it is Accelerate. Yeah, Accelerate has gone down.
Well, Wildcard made their push right up to where Vicious Gaming is at. And you can see God Squad's Mortify trying to push forward. It's him and Nitrogen, and they've got Elevate right in front of them. So right on the edge of the circle, a little bit more space that they can play around. They at least manage to find themselves one spot. But you can see Wildcard having to push back over towards where Vicious Gaming is at. And Vicious Gaming actually backing away and giving them a little bit more space.
This is the good thing about coming in from this northern side. Like I was very excited to see Wildcard coming in from here because they know that their backside is clear. They can just focus on the game in front of them. Right now, Vicious is the one in front of them, and they are right in the crosshairs.
A little bit of a regroup coming through. Wildcard taking the shots onto one angle. You can see Finnis trying to regroup with the other members of Vicious Gaming. We've seen a lot of fights happen around these long houses. So with this, it's actually going to be Vicious Gaming's Fozu that gets the down onto Demai, buying a little bit more space, but Sharpshot is right along this building, trying to get more space. Is he going to spot out Reno as he goes for this? No, it's just Sharpshot trying to defend the rest of the res is coming through back behind him, trying to do a little bit of a peek back and forth. He can hear Reno's footsteps, but Caden is kind of playing that safety position, providing a little bit of overwatch. Sharpshot being the front man on this.
Yeah, I like this. This is a new look from Wildcard, putting Sharpshot in that anchor position. Usually it is Tumai. Tumai does get rezzed here, but here come the grenades, though, from VG. This could be dangerous, and that's going to be it.
It's going to be Low-key. Look,
Yeah.
Low-key's taking
wow.
shots off to the side of this. They get the down and the flush onto Tamai. Wildcard now realizes they don't have an easy push back over next to Vicious Gaming, so Sharpshot's got to get out of this position.
Low-key, they managed to steal that kill, but they have to turn around immediately because Sonics is right on top of them. So now Vicious is going to return the favor here. The Wildcard down to just 3. It looks like they're trying to reposition here. They're moving their way west. Yeah, it looks like they're breaking off of this fight completely.
So new circles popped, and it is right on top of Zenith. Define Legit, the last hope for Smoking Aces, still not having to move. He is like living in that divot.
Yeah, he's going to call that ditch home for quite some time here. And now our contender, Low-key, coming in. They stole the kill away basically from Wildcard, managing to get the down and the flush onto Tumai. But then they got turned on by Sonics Sonics then pull away, and now it's just Smithy and Pax trying to push down in, but they don't realize they have the entirety of VG in front of them.
We have a lot of the very strong squads with all 4 members still alive that are inside the center of the circle. A lot of the damage squads are the ones that are kind of walking up next to each other and getting involved in these side skirmishes. So that's just going to make it so much easier for all these squads still full 4-man strong to just pick off the stragglers as they make their way inside the safe zone.
Yeah, surprisingly, the northern end of this circle now with the hardships to the south has become the death zone here as VG now falling right into wild card. They take out Finna. They get 1, they get 2. Finna's gonna
spray. Look at that. Now you can see Finna is still on the hunt. Got to be very careful. Trifecta, he actually takes a couple of shots. Sharp shot. The last remaining member, I believe, for Wildcard is having to push his way back over here. Still has to make his way a little bit further forward, but it's going to be a very desperate push. He does have a couple of buildings to play around, though.
Does have buildings to work with. As you said, God Squad now up to 4 kills, you can see. And that's going to be Lego, your ego, getting taken out by Pecadores. Pecadores has come alive here in the late game. They are on the southwestern part of this circle. They have a compound. They're 4 strong. They're looking good.
Simplicity's got control over this area. They've got the hills that are just down towards their south. They have to keep an eye on. Trifecta already inside of vehicles, on the move.
The push from Trifecta.
Pecadores is holding down the angle. It's going to be a little prod that just runs right into the middle of Pecadores, goes for the shots onto it, but that's going to be Vexel and Pecadores just holding the line against Trifecta.
Absolutely destroyed, and now Spray is trying to come in late as well. He's pushing right into this. They just lost 2 players.
Tires are overrated. Oh. Look at these guys just crashing into complexes. No fear coming out from them, so little prod Spray. They're caught in between 2 different parts of Pecadores. Spray goes down as well, so this is just becoming more and more troublesome for Trifecta.
Yeah, Unique still on the other side, still in circle, just kind of barely.
I would say kind of in circle at this point.
I mean, you could see right on the minimap where he has to go here, but that was a terrible push from Trifecta. That was terrible.
It felt like that was the only option they felt that they had, and Pecadores.
Well, sending again, 2 and then sending 1 and sending 1. I mean, that's not how you do things. Well, you're gonna get eaten alive by a team like Pecadores.
And they were like, "Hey, we made it," and then instantly got destroyed. So at that point, you just got to wave them off and say, "Nah, man, you can't do it." So you can see Sharp Shot just kind of hanging out right next to Simplicity. Ooh. Unofficial new member taking a couple of shots at them now. And that's going to give away his position, and he knows he needs to buy himself a little bit more space. It's a full 4-man squad in front of him, but don't forget, Unique is back on the other angle. Trifecta did hear that, and maybe might choose to third-party this a little bit, might provide a little bit more cover for Sharp Shot.
Yeah, and this is going to be interesting to see what VG decides to do. They're right on the north side. They could try to make their way across the street, finish off Simplicity, or stay on the eastern side of the road and make their way through the terrain, but they're going to run right into low key.
I love this. Sharp Shot took his couple of shots, gave away his position, repositioned as he runs back over to the spot. So now Simplicity not exactly sure where to reposition to, having to look everywhere. They threw out a whole bunch of grenades trying to get a little bit more space. But you can see Finna, that was those shots we saw a second ago where he was holding down those angles. But now down to 11 teams, 30 people alive.
Yeah, BMG still has to make their way into circle from the south side. Here we check on Smithy and Pax still alive. They do have the high ground. They have VG right below them. Fortunately, it looks like they're not under too much of a threat from anywhere else. But yeah, you can see bullets just flying around everywhere.
Loki does have a nice position that they can play around.
Ooh.
They just don't have the numbers. So these guys are going to have to fight their way into this position. Everybody's going to be pushing along similar paths, so that's why the grenades are already coming out. They're trying to defend this, force people to move out and away from them. As you can see, Trifecta gets annihilated by Pecadores. Again, Pecadores coming out so strong this game.
Yeah, keep an eye on Sonics. They have to make their way into the circle. Simplicity right now throwing fire their way. They are on the very northeastern side. Here we go. Pecadores, though, they know that BMG has to make their way out of this warehouse. They've got 2 downs already. What can they find?
This is so rough for BMG. They know that they've already got 2 members down. You can see Pecadores taking an aggressive stance around the outside of them. This is just full-on gatekeeping, unrelenting at this stage, and there's not a lot of cover to be found for anybody on BMG.
7 kills already for Pecadores. This is exactly the kind of start that we wanted seeing coming out of this squad. They don't managed to finish off the kills onto BMG. BMG does get the reses up here, but they're still under pressure from Elevate as well, and they have to make their way into circle. The blue is on top of them now.
It looks like Basher has just opted into jumping into a vehicle clam. There's no way he can get out of this. Basher tries to make the push forward. He just gets shot out of the vehicle, and that's going to be BMG getting eliminated. Now, Pecadores has got a little bit of a hill, but there are a lot of people that are playing around at Elevate just on the other side. One of the members from Zenith as well also posted up.
Here comes Elevate. As you said, Pecadores has the high ground right here. They have the ledge to work with. They get the first down, and they get the flush. Godku and Mini Fridge now have to find a way to work around this.
I love this. Come on, McLovin. He's just pushing right down into their face. They know that they have the numbers advantage. Finally opts into the safety, but this is not what I want from you, Pecadores. You guys have racked up so many kills. Just continue to take control over the circle. But their rotation is back down around where they've already taken out BMG. They know that this is a safe path.
Look at
so
the
now
wrap.
they have the angle back over towards Mini Fridge Jr. Godku's in a world of hurt. He gets down, and this is just nice separation out. What can Mini Fridge do? And it is nothing as it continues to be Pecadores with 10 kills.
Pecadores is on a killing spree right now as they took a few passing shots here, I believe from Sonics, maybe Patron from Zenith. Patron still has to make his way in, but Pecadores looking confident and strong coming in from the south side. But look at Simplicity. They've managed to make their way across in the road and get into this new circle as well.
Patron's trying to take a couple of shots back over towards Pecadores, providing a little bit of cover for his man Kindo that's up on the top of the hill. But don't forget about Sonics. We've talked about these guys. They racked up a ton of points in NPLC, and just look at them. They're starting to just gatekeep out everyone. Vicious Gaming wants to try and make the push back over there. Sharp Shot knows he's in a lot of trouble. Meanwhile, Sonics, they just feel very comfortable at the top of this hill.
Sonics is so damn good at getting 4 guys late game, and now you can see what they do with it once they get there. We see now Simplicity is engaged on Pecadores now. Smurf has gone down and gotten flush, so this is now 4v3.
Simplicity continuing to make the push, trying to capitalize off the high ground, throwing down a couple of grenades, but Pecadores was separated out. So they did lose one member, but they have multiple angles that they can fire back up as Lobes takes a couple of bullets to the face. Boxic's gonna go ahead and down him. Now, how are we gonna see Pecadores make the plays around this position? Sitting at 11 kills, but it's still gonna be Sonics looking back over towards Vicious Gaming as they're just having to cower behind a rock.
Man, there's so many fights going on here as Vish is going to try to start throwing out the grenades. Gets Tiggleton and Tony very low, but they don't get the downs here as Keenan and Wooly playing a different angle here, different line of sight. VG all on top of each other. You need to be worried about grenades, though, right now if you're Vicious.
So Sonic's trying to make the push back over towards him, but
Pecadores
goes down from a push from Simplicity. Meanwhile, Bozu right next to Sonics. Keenan's trying to hold that angle for him. You can see Frank the Tank is already down, so 3 members. Bozu's just trying to throw a blind grenade around where he hears footsteps at. Don't forget about Kindo and Simplicity up along that hillside. They could look back down towards Vicious Gaming at any given moment as Kindo did get it down onto one of them. I gotta say, Kindo's got great positioning inside of the circle, but there's still 10 alive. That's 9 other members that are going to be hunting him.
Yeah, Kendo the Snake managing to come out here and get it down. Does not manage to get the flush as well. You got to worry about Cherry Poppins, the last remaining player up for Simplicity after that fight with Pecadores. That was about as close as you could get on the south side. So we got 2 Snakes, and you've got Sonics and Vicious here vying to try to be the 4-man squad that makes it.
It's gonna be who manages to keep the most members up. As Sonics is looking back down towards Vicious Gaming, Spray's gonna come out through one side of it, but Bozu's trying to hold on to the defense, trying to protect his teammates as they make the cross back over here. None of the solos are opting into playing into any aggressive position except for Kindo. Kindo was just waiting. He can hear the footsteps around him. He could be what undoes Vicious Gaming and just hand over the positioning to Sonics. A little bit of spray back and forth, and yes, Kindo comes alive on the outside as gets 2 off of that.
That is huge for Zenith. They needed those kills. You can see they're now up to 6. That is big points for Zenith, and that is great news for Sonics as VG now just down to Fozu.
But look at this. Sonics has taken a lot of casualties off this. Kindo is just walking through and mopping up all the kills he can. Goes for a spray back down to one side of it, but it is a 1v1 on this side. The last remaining member from Sonics can't really make the easy crossover for this, so Fozu looking back over towards Kindo, but let's not forget about Cherry Poppins. You can see he's getting the grenade ready. Does he know where it's at? Looks like he might have a decent idea depending on how that rolls back down. It doesn't look like it got anybody.
Tiggleton does bleed out, and you can see that Wooly is still down as well. So 1 remaining player up for Sonics right now trying to go for these heals. If they can get them up, it's going to be, Sonics will be in a good position, but look how aggressive our solos are being right now.
They did manage to get Tony up. Kindo's playing around the outside, gets a little bit of a spray off, but Bozu, just beautiful shots coming out. Now up to 7 kills, but again, it's all about what's going on with Sonics right now. They're just trying to recoup. They're trying to get another res off. So these last 2 solos don't have the best capitalization points to really push into this. They don't have any ideas on what's kind of going on, so they're trying to get a little bit more information. Really, Cherry Poppins is in the only position that he might be able to do a little bit of damage to Sonics.
Huge play there by Kendo. You can't take that solo performance away from him. He did great things for Zenith Now we'll see what Fozu can put together for Vicious and what Simplicity can get out of Cherry.
All right, Fozu, you just heard a couple of shots, so you know that there's at least a little bit more of a skirmish at this stage. Keenan's now making his way back around this angle. Keep in mind, Sonic's heard about the firefight over here just a second ago. How's Fozu going to play this? 2 members of Sonic's pushing around one side of it. Spray does go out, but that's going to go up in Sonic's favor. Now just 1 member versus the Sonic's 3-man squad. They've got 6 kills right now, but what's Cherry Poppins going to do?
This terrain is so difficult to work around here. Cherry Poppins can work his way around and use the hills to come up with different lines of sight. But here we go. Cherry Poppins right on top of the hill right now, but look how close they are.
Here's the footsteps. Again, going for a little bit of a blind nade off to one side of it. Not going to connect with anything. So now Cherry Poppins trying to play along the different sides of this hill. He knows it's risky. The moment he steps over that, he's just going to crest up and 3 different people could be spraying back his direction. So instead, he's just trying to go with a little bit of a peekaboo strategy. Pop up on one spot, throw a grenade from another. Try to find the one angle that they aren't defending, so maybe he can turn this into his favor.
Yeah, Sonics have kept Tony V behind, playing closer towards the center of the circle, while Keenan and Wooly wrap around, try to flush him out. Looks like they managed to do so.
They know where he's at now. A couple of shots coming through, so he has to reposition. He knows that the push is coming after him, so Cherry Poppins trying to hold the angle. Gets the spray off to one side, but it's not going to matter as Sonics just continue to dominate and walk away with the very first round win.
The hype is real for Sonics. They dominated in contenders. They step into this relegation match's first game, get that 7-kill win.
So we can now officially say Sonics not overhyped. These are going to be some guys we have got to keep our eyes on through this series.
But we saw some great plays coming out from multiple teams there.
Oh, hell
I mean, Simplicity obviously finishing in second there, coming out huge. Pecadores, I believe, had almost 11 kills, maybe more. Zenith as well, having some great performances. I mean, it's still up in the air. Anybody's game.
I am loving new Pecadores. The way that these guys push, there's no fear coming out, taking, I'd say, advantage of the mid game.